Hello everyone, and thank you for coming to my workshop. This is my honors project for my class, FON 241. And today we're going to be answering the question of how does the quantity, quality, and timing of carbohydrates intake influence overall muscle growth? So understanding the impact. Carbohydrates are a macronutrient, and it's the body's primary energy source. So the way it's processed in the body is carbs turn into glucose, which is a simple sugar, and becomes glycogen. So glycogen is a stored form of carbohydrates that are in the muscles and liver. When glycogen levels are low, the performance is compromised, and I'll go more into that in a little bit. Carbs are also help with recovery, as it gives the muscles energy in order to recover. The role quantity, carbohydrate intake and muscle development. So we take a look at the first bullet point on the right here. Carbohydrate intake is pivotal to muscle performance, which affects muscle growth. So to segue into number one on the left side, inadequate intake of carbs will result in optimal performance. Number two, an excess intake of carbs will result in fatigue and weight gain. And third, an inadequate intake of carbs will result in weakness and being lightheaded. So carbs is crucial for replenishing the depleted glycogen stores after exercises. That's why it's important to eat carbs after, so the muscle has the energy to recover. The recommended daily intake varies based on the individual and their activity levels and goals. So depending on how much you work out or how much strain your body takes for your work, or kind of your lifestyle. So it really depends on in this case you're trying to gain muscle mass. It's probably best to eat at a little bit of a calorie surplus. But again, your calorie intake really depends on your goals and everything. Carbs in the diet support optimal muscle development. Quality matters. Carb types and maximizing muscle growth. So there are two main types of carbs. There's simple carbs and complex carbs. So we'll focus on simple carbs right now. It contains 1 to 2 sugar units, and they're very rapid, short-lived energy boosts, and they'll basically make you crash a little bit later. And the reason that is because it's processed food. So it takes all the nutrients, all the fibers and minerals that you need, and kind of just throw whatever kind of not material, but any processed food that they want in there. It also does rapid spikes in blood sugar levels due to their quick digestion. So some examples of these are white rice, sugar, soda, candy, chips, and particular kinds of honey. On the other hand, complex carbs, which is what we want, what the body needs, it's a longer chain of sugar units, and it takes longer to break down. So the reason why this is good is I like to use the analogy of a car. So if you have a car that takes premium gas and you give it regular gas, that car is not going to be performing as it should be, nor is it good for the car. But if you give a car that needs premium gas, it's gonna perform at the level that you want it to, and sometimes even more. And the way the fuel burns in there, it's gonna be way better for the car in the long run. So it's basically the same thing for your body. It provides sustained energy over time and support longer lasting activities. It contains higher fibers, vitamins, minerals due to the intact nature. It's not processed or anything like that. So some examples of this are oats, sweet potato, quinoa, wheat bread, and black beans. And it's a more stable blood sugar level due to their gradual breakdown. Timing is key. Carb consumption and optimal muscle recovery. So the right way to eat carbs, the best time to eat carbs is before and after a workout. So if you're going to eat carbs before a workout, try to make sure that it's complex carbs. And you usually want to do this about an hour to 2 hours before your workout so that you can kind of let the food digest and settle. Post-workout meal, you're going to want to do it about 30 minutes to an hour because this is your anabolic window. So this is the best time to feed your muscle that carb, and make sure that you pair it with protein so that that protein can help build that muscle to be stronger for when it recovers. The times you don't want to eat carbs. Try not to eat it right before you're about to do a whole lot of nothing. If you're going to sit down, watch a movie or something, probably not the best time to just munch on the soda and sugars and chips and everything like that. It's going to lead to an energy crash later on. And try not to do it at the night when the activity level is low or right before you're about to go to bed. My story with this is that I used to work at Chipotle. I used to work the night shift. I got off at 11, got home at 11:30, and I would eat a burrito with double white rice, double chicken, had some black beans, some guac, some lettuce in there. And over time, I feel like every time I woke up, I just feel like sluggish. I gained a lot of weight. And when I looked into it, I was eating about 150 grams of carbs within that burrito. And then 30 minutes later, after eating that burrito, I go straight to sleep. And the reason why it leads to weight gain is because, again, the carbs turn to glucose, which is simple sugar. And because it's not being used, it's just storing as fat in your body. So that's why doctors say, hey, try not to eat like a super heavy meal 2 to 3 hours before you're about to go to bed. So just watch out for that. Maximizing muscle gain. How carb quantity impacts progress. So I have 3 studies here. The first one was done in January 2018, issued by Nutrition Today. And they say that carbs are the only source that break down quickly enough to use during intense workouts. Other sources such as protein and fats do not provide enough power at a rapid enough rate. So when you're trying to hit your max rep or your max squat or just push yourself as much as you can, carbs are going to be your best friend. 2, another study was done by JISSN found that a high protein diet with 40 to 60% carbs is the most efficient way to gain muscle mass. Lastly, El Mardi, from an article released in 2020 by International Journal of Sport Nutrition and Exercise Metabolism, states a lack of carbs after exercise causes the body to use its muscle tissue as source of energy. This causes the body to lose muscle mass and decreases recovery time. Also, sorry, I don't know why that's there. Reduces recovery time. So again, because carbs are your main source of energy, if you have an inadequate intake of carbs, your body's gonna be trying to pull. It's gonna be trying to pull fuel or energy from your body, and one of the main ones it goes to is your muscle. And if you're trying to build muscle, that's not very optimal, So always try to make sure you eat some complex carbs before you work out. Optimizing carb quality, enhancing muscle growth. So I put a picture here of David Goggins, because why not? Hardest man alive. But on Pub Central, which is in Archive Science Journal Literature, they did research on the past 40 studies that dealt with carb and physical performance. And they found that hours following post-exercise, carbohydrate-rich foods can be quickly digested, absorbed, and transported in the blood, and even speed glycogen resynthesis, which basically means that it's going to allow your body to do more strenuous exercises throughout the day or even throughout consecutive days. And this is why a lot of coaches tell their players, hey, we have a big game coming up, eat a bunch of pasta for today. And the reason that is because obviously pasta has a lot of carbs, and it's going to give you enough energy to get through 2 practices and then the big game, so you can perform at a high level and win the game. Lastly, carb in muscle growth, essential but not alone. So this slide is really just to go over the fact that although carbs are very important for your muscle growth and your muscle gains, it can't do it alone. Sorry. First, carbs need to be incorporated with a balanced diet. Carbs itself will not suffice. So you need to be making sure that you're eating it with protein and certain fats and everything like that. I gave you that kind of 40 to 60% carb earlier today, and that's a great place to start. Maybe 40%. If you don't see muscle mass growing that much, you can maybe up it a little bit. But there's a lot of, you know, calorie calculators out there on the internet that you can do for free that will break down, you know, your macronutrients and everything like that. I think one of the main ones I use is FitnessPal. That one's a great one. Secondly, adequate sleep and hydration are crucial for maximizing benefits. This is probably the most, like, I want to focus on this one the most because this one is probably the most important of them all. In order for you to even gain muscle, your body needs to sleep. Like, you can't be sleeping 4 or 5 hours a day for, you know, 4 or 5 days out of the week and expect to grow muscle. Like, your body and your muscles are going to be depleted, and they're not going to want to, you know, perform at an optimal level, even if you do feed it the right carbs. So, and make sure your muscles are hydrated. You know, you can't have your muscles be dry. It might cause an injury. You might get a cramp. So, just do me a favor, sleep and drink a lot of water, please. Thirdly, carbs support muscle growth when paired with targeted exercises. So, just make sure, you know, you're not eating carbs and expecting all these magical things to happen. Again, it needs to be with a certain diet and a certain physical goal in mind. Lastly, optimizing muscle growth involves discovering the right carb intake tailored to your individual needs within your diet. So again, that one just to go over. Kind of, you know, sit down with yourself, look in the mirror, whatever your goal is. You know, write down what you want to look like, or like, you know, some individuals, some like examples, and again, do some research, do your own research, so that you can build your optimal, you know, your optimal thing. This is my works cited, and that is it. I hope you learned a lot. I hope I provided enough information, and thank you so much.